गुड टू सी यू। आपका तबीयत आजकल कैसा है?
हाँ, प्रभु की ग्रेस है।
म्यूट हो गया है लगता है, सुनाई नहीं दे रहा।
हाँ, प्रभु का आशीर्वाद है।
अच्छा ठीक है। बढ़िया, अच्छा लगा सुन के। हाँ? नमो नारायण आया अंकल जी।
नमो नारायण आए।
आपकी तबीयत कैसी है?
भगवान की कृपा है। आपके पेट को क्या हो गया?
आई थिंक आई शुड नॉट बॉदर अबाउट इट। मैंने कोई डॉक्टर को भेजा तो उसने बोला थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर हो जाता है कभी कभी,
नहीं, डॉक्टर साहब को
उसके लिए
दिखाई है।
ज्यादा नहीं। ये देख, डोंट वरी अबाउट इट टू मच।
हाँ जी।
नहीं, मैंने अपने आप सोच के लिवर टेस्ट ली। उसमें वो जो रेशियो है वो गड़बड़ है और बाइलिरुबिन थोड़ी गड़बड़ है, थोड़ी थोड़ी। तो
ये कुछ नहीं होता, इससे कोई फर्क
हाँ, इसलिए वो लोग ने बोला नहीं, उसको मत सोचो, बस घर का खाना खाओ, बाहर मत खाओ।
नहीं। बस बस, दैट्स इज बेस्ट।
फॉलो योर ओन डाइट। तो उससे चलेंगे, हम वही करेंगे हम। तो इनफैक्ट आई विल बी कमिंग टू टेक द प्रेयर मीटिंग।
ठीक।
पहले मैंने सोचा नहीं तो, क्योंकि कल मैं नहीं जा पाऊंगी क्योंकि आई एम गोइंग टू सी मिसेस प्रमाणिक।
अच्छा अच्छा।
तो फिर कल नहीं कर पाऊंगी। और भी टाइम कितनी हुई? अभी 2 मिनट है, फिर हम लोग शुरू कर देंगे। आज एनीवे सोनी अंकल आ नहीं रहे, तो
हाँ।
मेरा अंकल शायद आएगा देर से। वो नॉर्मली वो देर से आता है। तो वी विल स्टार्ट। फिर से घंघोर वेदांत की क्लास से। बट आत्मबोध has been very nice। मेरे लिए
वेरी नाइस,
ना,
वेरी
मुझे भी
नाइस।
बहुत मीन्स बहुत क्लैरिटी दे दे रही है। शंकराचार्य जी ठोस के कर रहा है ना। I'll just go and get my water little bit and then
भाटिया जी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार जी। कैसे हाल है सेबी साहब?
हाँ, बिल्कुल दया है ईश्वर की।
वाहेगुरु की कृपा है ना?
हाँ जी, मेहरबानी है, मेहर है।
ठीक है, बड़ा अच्छा है। क्या देखो,
आजकल ठंड बढ़ रही है। चलो शुरू कर देते हैं। ओके, मैं म्यूट कर लेती हूँ। पहले हम प्रेयर्स करेंगे। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। न्यू शेयर कर देते हैं। Okay. Okay. So now we are coming to the end of this 8 verses on Nididhyasana. And as I'm always going on repeating, Main practice in our Shravana has been, in our Advaita Vedanta, this thing has been Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Okay? Shravana is what? Hearing these teachings, using them to guide you on a process of self-inquiry. And what is the goal behind that? To discover what is the true I. The true I. इसके बारे में मैं बात करूंगी. Okay? So Shravana is supported by Manana. And Manana is for removing doubt. Doubts are caused because of improper logic. And therefore, we will use reasoning only, logic and reasoning, to remove our doubts. Okay. Now, let us look at something, which I wanted to, just kind of a revision. So now, what the Shastras, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, and countless Prakarana Granthas like this, what they are revealing is that we are Atma. Okay? We are Atma. What is Atma? Atma is change-free, infinite consciousness existence. ये तो बड़ी bore हो गई. I'm trying to put you all on top of the screen so that I can see who I'm talking to. Yeah, okay. Okay. So, change-free, limit-free, mane infinite. We are consciousness, existence. This is the true I. And it is independent of the body, mind, and the world. Now, what happens is Atma manifests in the mind in two ways. It manifests as the I thought, and it manifests as the object of I thought, which we call as the this thought. क्योंकि हम बोलेंगे ना, this spectacle, this glass, this thought, this feeling. So the I thought and the this thought. Now, what happens is the whole confusion is with the I thought. The I thought is only a thought. That's it. But what does it do? It assumes a great importance in itself. अपने आप को बहुत important करके, what does it do? It joins itself with the body and body's attributes. It joins itself to the mind's attributes. And so, it creates so many different roles and identities, none of which is the true I. None of these roles and identities, they are only relative identities. Therefore, one way of saying this is, am I what I have? Okay? Now, an identity which is based on what I have. What do I have? I have this body. So, an identity based on what I have is a relative identity. And it is expressed in the I thought. Because I thought उसके साथ join कर देगी, body के साथ join करके बोलेगी, I am body. I thought will join up with the mind and say, I am mind. Iti. I am feeling. I am thoughts. I thought is joining up with different things. Okay. So this relative identity of mine is based on a relationship with something other than what I truly am. I have body, I have mind. So relative identity is based on body and mind, or the relationship with the world. This is okay, no problem. But the problem is, if I believe that I am what I have, then I have set myself up to be very unhappy, to be miserable. Because no matter what I have and how much I have, it will not be enough. Because when my identity is based on what I have, then what happens? It sets up comparison. comparison with others, makes me dependent on what others think about me, right? So if my identity is based on the body, mind which I have, then I will be only as much as the body and mind. My sense of well-being will become dependent on the body and mind and its attributes. Will that be good enough all the time? Supposing I'm a working person and I lose my job, or supposing I'm getting old, I'm getting sick, my body is not supporting me my desires anymore. My body is not supporting. I have desire for pizza, my body is not supporting it. Eh? Supposing it is some foreign country, the partner leaves. Iti. Somebody criticizes me. Society rejects me for whatever reason. Then what? No, I become miserable. So as long as I think I am the body and mind, it is an error. Shastra says clearly it is error. This is error. And as long as I am identified with body and mind as my only reality, then I am going to suffer. So, why? Because body, mind, world, naturally, it is limited. It is changing all the time. And if I equate myself to body and mind, then I am setting myself up to suffer. So it's important to understand what is the true I, for which we have the logic of Atma, Atma Viveka, Drik Drishya Viveka. So let's look at that verse number 29. What does it say? Nishidya Nikulopadhin Neti Neti iti Vakyataha Vidyadaikyam Mahavakyaihi Jivatma Paramatmanoho. It's a very important verse, this one. So what are we being told? Negate all the limiting upadhis. Upadhis means what? This body, mind. It is limiting me. Negate it. Then you can have a question. So if I am not what I have, then who am I? And this question of who am I, it is answered by Shastra. Shastra alone is going to answer us, iti, who am I? So what does this verse say? Nishidya nikilopadin neti neti iti vakyataha. Using the Shastric injunction. What is the Shastric injunction? Na iti, upadhi, na, body, na, mind, na, iti. So using that injunction of this, may you negate it. Okay? That means Shastra is helping us. And for us, Shastra is a pramanam. What does pramanam mean? Valid means of knowledge. To give us what? Knowledge of self. Just like eyes are pramanam. Eyes give us valid knowledge of form and color. Same way, Shastra gives us valid knowledge of the true I. What is the true I? So, pramanam is defined as giving us knowledge which is anadhigata. That means knowledge which is unique, which I cannot get from anywhere else. बस वही एक knowledge दे सकती है. No other means of knowledge can give me this means of knowledge, this knowledge. Iti. Then it is told as abaditam. Abaditam means that which cannot be negated by any other means of knowledge. And Shastra should give me meaningful knowledge. Now our Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, our Prakarana Granthas, they are all based on the Bhagavad Gita, Prakarana Granthas are based on Upanishads. So they all give us this kind of knowledge, which is unique. No other means of knowledge can give us this knowledge. And the knowledge which is cannot be negated by our perception, cannot be negated by our inference, cannot be negated by presumption, cannot be negated by any other means of knowledge. And it gives us meaningful knowledge. Why is it meaningful? Because when I know the true I, my sense of limitation goes away. I'm not bothered, even though the body has limitation, even though the mind has limitation, I am not bothered by that. Okay? So Shastra is giving us the method of finding the true I, the absolute I. So it is saying that recognize that your body mind is an object of your knowledge. It is changing all the time. It is anityam. It is limited. And it is dependent on your conscious presence. You have to be there first. You are there, then your body is there. So it is something you have. It is not who you are. We make this distinction. Who I am and what I have. Okay? So it is not who you are. It is what you have. So if you base your understanding of yourself on your body mind, which is what you have, then you have invited suffering. So now what to do? We need an attitude towards the body mind. Simple attitude, हमेशा आप लोग को बताती हूँ कि the body mind is grace of Ishvara. It's a wonderful gift given to us while we are spiritual beings come for a temporary sojourn on earth. So during this temporary sojourn on earth, Bhagwan has gifted us this beautiful body mind with which we can transact in the world. Okay. Now, once we separate this true I from the false identities that we have assumed, then we separated it how? By Atmanatma Viveka. We were saying that, look, it is object of knowledge, it is Drishyam, it is Anityam, it is limited, it is changing, iti. I always bring in that logic because I feel that that logic is too good. It is changing. Okay, I will bring that in still probably. If it is changing vastu only I know, na? Okay, so it is changing. Who knows the change? I know the change. If I am also the changing body mind, then how will I know the change? That means I must be something which is unchanging, iti. And that is what Shastra is pointing out. That, you are not the body which is changing. Okay. So in this next Nishidya, it was said, use the Mahavakya to understand who you are. Mahavakya here is Tattvamasi. Use Tattvamasi to understand who you are. Then you will discover what the true I, the absolute I is. And you will discover that it is change-free. It is limit-free. It is independent. It is self-revealing, ever-present, consciousness, existence, which is equally present in the whole creation. In everything, sentient, insentient, it is equally present. And once that discovery takes place, okay, once that recognition takes place, once that discovery takes place, then we take to Nididhyasana, which has been our topic for few weeks now. So now we are going to be concluding a series of 8 verses talking about this Nididhyasana, Vedantic contemplation, process of reflection for the sake of assimilation. And what does assimilation mean? That having these teachings penetrate our thinking every moment of the day, in all our activities, whatever we are doing, that much. Okay, that is the meaning of assimilation. And for sake of doing that, we have to immerse ourselves in this truth, the truth of our nature being Satchidananda. Again we repeat the same words, being unborn, change-free, boundary-free consciousness. Yeah? So now we'll quickly go through these verses. Okay. निषिद्य निखिलोपाधि नेति नेतीति वाक्यतः विद्यादैक्य महावाक्ये जीवात्मा परमात्मनोः आविद्यकं शरीरादि दृश्यं बुद्बुदवत्क्षरम् एतद्विलक्षणं विद्यात् अहं ब्रह्मेति निर्मलम्. This was number 30 which I just said. Okay, I've got it only here. Dehan देहान्यत्वान्न मे जन्म जरा काशलयादयः शब्दादि विषयै संगः निरिन्द्रियतया न च. Very clearly here, Shankaracharya is saying it all very clearly that I am not the body. Therefore, I am free from all the changes. Amanastvatna me dukkha raga dvesha bhayadayah aprano hyamana shubhra ityadi shruti shasanat. Here again he says, I am not the mind. Therefore, I don't have sorrow, attachment, etc. And then come the real Nididhyasana verses. निर्गुणो निष्क्रियो नित्यो निर्विकल्पो निरञ्जनः निर्विकारो निराकारो नित्यमुक्तोऽस्मि निर्मलः. I'm not repeating because last two times I've done quite thoroughly. अहमाकाशवत् सर्वं बहिरन्तर्गतोच्युतः सदा सर्वसमसिद्धो निसंगो निर्मलोच्चलः. Such beautiful verses, नित्यशुद्धविमुक्तैकम् अखण्डानन्दमद्वयम् सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं यत् परं ब्रह्माहमेव तत्. Okay. एवं निरन्तर अभ्यस्ता ब्रह्मैवास्मीति वासना हरति अविद्या विक्षेपाद् रोगानिव रसायनम्. So here that verse said, which we saw last time, that we have a vasana, deha vasana is there, and to remove the deha vasana, we create the aham brahma vasana through nididhyasana. Yeah, we create that through nididhyasana. And what it does, this aham brahma vasana, slowly it will get rid of the deha vasana. Iti. Why is the deva vasana there? It is there because of ignorance. I am no more ignorant now, but Deha Vasana is continuing, Puja Swamiji used to give the example, I think I'm trying to remember, that, a band, I'm trying to see if the context is right. If, there's a bandage and when you remove the bandage, the scar is left, So, so there is a scar left. So like that, the knowledge has taken place, but that jiva vasana scar is there. So we want to get rid of that scar. So we do this nididhyasana. Then vivikta deshe asino virago vijitendriyaha bhavayedekamatmanam tamanantam ananyadhihi. So now he started an explanation of what to do, like in Gita we say how the instructions of how to do this nididhyasana, sit in a solitary place, etc., etc. And now we have one more verse of instruction on how to perform nididhyasana, and that is Atmanyevakhilam drishyam pravilapya dhiya sudhihi bhavayedekamatmanam Nirmalakashavat sada. So, here it is being told Sudhihi. Who is Sudhihi? Sudhi is the wise person. What should he do? Atmani eva akilam drishyam pravilapya. Dhiya pravilapya. So, what should he do? Dhiya pravilapya. Through self-inquiry, pravilapya. May he dissolve, may he merge, may he resolve, whatever word you want to use. Okay? What? Akhilam drishyam. Whatever is drishyam, akhilam. Your mind is drishyam, your body is drishyam, world is drishyam. So akhilam drishyam, pravilapya, may he resolve into what? Atmani eva, in the Atma. May he resolve it in the Atma and bhavayet, constantly think of what? Ekam Atmanam. May we constantly think of that one self, which is in and through everything. And we may think of it all the time, Sada, as the, and may he know it to be stainless like the sky. So let's look at this verse. Sudhihi. Sudhi usually means Sudhi, Sushtu Dhi. Dhi means Buddhi. Sudhi means somebody who has a good Buddhi, good mind, good intellect. But here we are really referring to a person who has gained this self-knowledge. Nididhyasana is pertinent when we have already recognized the truth. Iti, right? Only then we talk about Nididhyasana. So Nididhyasana here Nididhyasana will follow the Shravana and Mana. Through Shravana and Manana, you will gain the knowledge. When you gain the knowledge, you become Sudhi, one who has got a good mind, Sudhihi, meaning you have discovered your true nature. Okay, so in this context, it will be usually Sudhi means somebody who's got a good mind, but in this context, it is somebody who has discovered their true nature. Okay, so what does this Sudhi do? He using that mind and intellect which has gone through both Shravana and Manana, and having recognized his or her true nature, that person, pravilapya, he merges or resolves, or having dissolved, lapya, lyap it is. So having resolved or having merged or having dissolved. So I'm going to look at it in a two-way, okay? So here, so far, we've been talking about the process of contemplation in which we have meditated we have meditated and then we have got a few minutes of silence. Okay. So he has pravilapya, he's merged, meaning no more these thoughts, sensations, perceptions are there in his mind. That's how he merged. They're not arising, and all that is there is only Atma. That conscious presence is there. Earlier, what was there? Conscious presence is there, in whose conscious presence the thought arises, the feelings arise, the perceptions arise. Correct? Now, what he has done is, through this being a refined meditator, he is able to get these few moments of silence, and therefore he has resolved these thoughts and feelings and perceptions, and he has come into his own. Okay, he has just the presence there, the conscious presence he is. Okay. Now, supposing you say, I can't do that. I'm not a refined meditator. Mujhse to nahi hoga. Which is the case for many of us. So, we can take it as somebody who has at least recognized that the entire thought world as well as the physical world is mithya. He has actually recognized this fact कि हाँ ये तो मिथ्या है. Iti. Mithya means, I'll give you simple. What does mithya means? He has understood it is drishyam, it is anityam, it is paratantra. The whole thought world, the whole physical world is drishyam, anityam, paratantram. Therefore, it is mithya. Meaning it's just an appearance as Ishvara wills. It is here by Ishvara's will. It is taking place, the appearance is taking place in the vastness of consciousness that you are. This person has recognized the mithyatva. Okay? So I'm taking two ways. Pravilapya, that pravilapanam can be actually being silent because no more anything is arising in the mind, or the pravilapanam can be that pravilapya dhiya, because it is said dhiya, using the self-inquiry or using the buddhi or using the mithyatva buddhi. He has done this pravilapanam. Okay, he has recognized that the consciousness that I am is satyam, and I am the consciousness which is satyam, and everything else is mithya. That itself is the pravilapanam. Okay, both ways. Okay, so if it that mithyatva buddhi means thoughts are arising, physical world is arising, it's just an appearance by Ishvara's will in the presence of the consciousness that one is. That much he recognized. Okay, I'm coming back to method 1. So earlier we had discussed that before contemplation takes place, one needs to create a suitable condition. And that suitable situation is few moments of silence. Not to be great meditator, pranayam maybe 2-3 minutes silence will get, it's enough. After that silence is, so you got the understanding of what is pravilapanam. That is a physical pravilapanam in the sense that no more thoughts are arising. No more the perception of body is arising. That is a physical pravilapanam. Yeah? The person has merged or resolved, he's gone into a type of a samadhi. You can say it is a samadhi. Okay. Okay. So having pravilapya, having dissolved, akhilam, the entire drishyam, all that is experienced. So drishyam is what takes place in your mind. What takes place in your mind is thoughts, sensations, perceptions of the world around you, thoughts, emotions. So all of them, akhilam drishyam, dhiya pravilapya. They have all resolved dhiya pravilapya through understanding. Now what happens is when you truly understand that they are mithya, and you have been a regular meditator, at least a person who's been doing japa regularly, and you also understood it is mithya, then your mind will no longer go there. You know, because it's like saying that supposing there is some kachra on the road, do you go and pick up the kachra to use it? No, you know it is kachra. So your mind doesn't prompt you to go there and pick it up. Similarly, when this mithyatva buddhi is there, when we are understood, mithyatva buddhi will come only when satyatva buddhi is there. Eh? When this mithyatva buddhi is truly there, then the mind no more goes to that. Iti. Therefore, even the physical pravilapanam becomes more easy. Anyway, dhiya pravilapya, understanding the mithyatvam, that much is enough. Eh? Okay. So, mithyatvam, understanding thoughts are mithya. Thoughts are a form of consciousness just as pot is a form of clay. Pot form is superimposed on clay to give rise to the object called pot. Correct? Can you see my pot? No? I have to remove my screen. I've got such a fancy screen now. उसको मैं एक मिनट निकाल देती हूँ. Okay. Abhi you can see my pot. Here is the pot. Somebody had given me rabdi or something in this. Luckily, I washed it. This is the only pot I have. उसको धो के रखा है कभी कभी यूज करने के लिए. Okay. So, pot is a form superimposed on clay that form superimposed on clay has become this object called pot. So too, thought is a form superimposed on consciousness. Okay? Okay. So thought is also nothing but consciousness, but it is dependent on consciousness. And that's why thought is mithya iti. So all the drishyam is resolved into Atmani eva, into one's true self, into consciousness, recognizing that the truth of all of them is one consciousness alone, ekam atmanam. Thoughts are superimposed upon consciousness and it gives rise to all our various experiences, cognitive experiences, experience of emotion, experiences of perception, right? Sound, color, form, touch, taste, everything. So here is my pot. Now imagine that this pot is giving up its form. What does that mean? Just imagine maybe it is being crushed into dust. The dust is also nothing but clay. I will add some water and the pot comes back to clay, to its original form. So pot can be dissolved, it can be merged into clay by giving up its form, by giving up its distinctiveness. In the same way, our thoughts, our emotions and sensations can let go their particular forms and they can get resolved into their content. This is an emotional thing actually, At this point, people get scared. When we are meditating, we are scared to let go, let go the form. We're not able to let go the form. Anyway, never mind. Then if you can't let go the form, understand it is mithya. So the content of the pot is clay. What is the content of our thought? Content of our thought is consciousness. Even when it was pot, it was clay. So too, even when the thought forms are there, they are nothing but consciousness alone. So the content of our thoughts, emotions, sensations is consciousness, just as the content of the pot is clay. So pravilapanam, okay? Pravilapanam, having merged all your thoughts, your emotions and sensations into Atma, Atmani eva, into your true I, into yourself, into consciousness. Your mind is silent. In that moment of silence brought about through the practice of meditation, you are there, present, self-revealing, consciousness, awareness, you are very much there, present. So there is utter stillness, but you can't do anything because no thought is arising there. So after that moment of silence is over, when your thoughts return, then what do? Bhavayet. Then you reflect on what? Ekam Atmanam. You reflect on the true nature of the self. What is this self? I was there as consciousness. What is my Swarupa? What is my real nature? Iti. The consciousness which was present in that moment of silence, you recognize it as your true nature, recognizing it as it is. Because in those moments of silence, you're present with yourself. You're not encumbered, by thoughts, emotions, sensations. You don't have any covering of thoughts and emotions and sensations. Nothing is there. So after that moment of silence, you have an opportunity to experientially confirm that yes, I exist, even without the presence of thoughts. So I've put 3 points here, that you exist as consciousness in the presence of thoughts, because your conscious presence being there, it illumines the thoughts. Thoughts occur in your conscious presence. So there is consciousness that you are, and there is what you are conscious of, right? You are consciousness and you are conscious of various things. conscious of thoughts, feelings, etc. And where do these thoughts, feelings and all, where do they take place? They take place in the space of your own presence. And what is your presence? Yours is a self-revealing presence. You don't need, you are there as self-revealing consciousness. Your thoughts don't have an existence of their own, because without the presence of the consciousness, they don't have any existence of their own. You have to be there first to have a thought. Okay. Then you see the fact that you exist as self-revealing conscious presence even in the absence of thoughts. In the presence of thoughts, you are consciousness that is independent. In the absence of thoughts, also, you are there as consciousness. You light up the absence of thoughts in the mind. Okay, it's because of your presence, your conscious presence, that you are able to know that there is an absence of all thoughts here. Then after this silence is over, you go see the fact that the consciousness you are is pure, Shuddha. It is stainless. It is free of all change. It is independent of thoughts. Because if it was dependent of thoughts, if consciousness is dependent on thought, then it should exist when thought, it should not exist when thoughts are not there. But supposing you could enjoy this moment of silence, then you know that you exist even when the thought is not there. Right? So that means consciousness is there even when the thought is not there. In silence, you are very much there, knowing the absence of thoughts. So being independent of thoughts, you are Satyam iti. Now, that consciousness is all pervading. For that also I can give you a logic, though actually we understand it from Shastra. The consciousness that I am is all pervading. What kind of logic do I use for this? Because our intellect demands logic. So we should give some logic. Now look at this. We are saying that you are consciousness, which is never an object, right? You are independent of all the objects. If you say that the consciousness that I am is limited, limited by what? It can be limited by body. It can be limited by thought. But then if you are seeing a limitation in it, then the very fact that you are seeing limitation, that limitation, is it an object or not? The limitation becomes an object of your knowledge. Therefore, it cannot belong to consciousness. Right? So in consciousness, there is no limit. There is nothing to limit, because whatever is a limit will become an object of one's own knowledge. So there is no limit in consciousness. Consciousness is all pervading, limitless. No boundary, no limit. All this one does bhavayet. One is meditating upon. So the self-revealing consciousness that you are, the presence that you are, it is ekam atmanam. It is one, absolutely real. One. It's in the whole fabric of the universe. It is one atma only, one consciousness. It is nirmala, akashavat sada. That which is eternally nirmala. Nirmala means no stain, pure, like the akasha. Akasha is never actually tainted or stained by anything. Right? Now comes the thing. Now, when we go outside during the day and you look up into the sky, Akasha, you see the color. You just said it is Nirmala. It is due to refraction of light from the sun on various air molecules. And that refraction causes the appearance of the blueness. So if you say it is not Nirmala, free from impurity, free from color. Okay, now It's okay. But we are going to use the space example to understand something. Okay. So what color is space? You know, we see the pictures of astronauts floating in space around the space station, looking out through the window like this. There's a window here, and he's looking out through the space. The space is dark. There could be stars shining, but the space itself, it looks dark. So now we have something to reflect upon. Okay. So the darkness of the space, it represents the silence of our mind. Darkness of the space it's representing the silence of the mind, where there is no thought, no senses, no perceptions. And the darkness of space is nirmala, space which is not affected by anything. True, space is never affected by anything. So now when these astronauts are outside their space capsule, like this guy, he's outside his space capsule, yeah, or he's taking a walk with his spacesuit on. Naturally, if he doesn't wear his spacesuit, he'll be in trouble. He's out in the darkness of space, but the sun is shining because we are able to see this picture of Earth. That means sun is shining. Iti, in this picture, you can see the planet Earth because sun is shining. Correct? Yeah. Okay. Look at this. The sun is shining and the space looks black. That means the blackness of space is full of light. How beautiful. That absence of, that blackness of space is full of light. Sun is shining. The sun is illumining the astronaut, his space suit, the space station, yet the space itself is black. So the black space which is filled with light, it represents those moments of silence which are filled with consciousness. Right? Our mind, pravilapya, was silent. So in that silent mind, what is there? Consciousness is very much there, because of which I know the presence of the silence. Okay. So just as the black space is full of light, in the same way, those moments of silence are filled with consciousness. The consciousness that is our true nature. And it's because of the presence of consciousness that the silence is known. So notice that in the darkness of the space, if something is to be seen, supposing the astronaut raised his hand. As soon as the hand is raised, it is illumined by the sun. So if there's anything present in the darkness of space, that object is going to reflect the light of the sun. In the absence of the object, there is only darkness. But in the presence of object, that object reflects the light of the sun. In the same way, when thought arises in our mind, or an emotion or a sensation arises, that vritti reflects consciousness. Okay? So just like the astronaut's hand reflects the light. Same way, the vrittis reflect consciousness. When the astronaut's hand goes away, then there is darkness again. Similarly, when the thoughts, emotions, sensations resolve, pravilapya, there is only consciousness, and that consciousness fills the silence of one's mind. Bhavayet. How? How to contemplate? Contemplate that the silence is not an empty silence. It is luminous because of the presence of consciousness. It is luminous. It is filled with consciousness. When the moment of silence comes to an end, then reflect on that. Hey, that this silence, I was there present as consciousness, because of which I knew that there was this silence, Siti. Right? So this will be your contemplation. Just like the blackness of space is filled with light, in the same way, the silence of my mind is filled with consciousness. And this consciousness is my true nature. So with this verse, we have finished this section on Nididhyasana. And the next section is going to talk about the Jnana Phalam. Okay. When we did second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, we saw that towards the end, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna, what is the nature of an enlightened person? How does he sit? How does he walk? How does he talk? It is called a Sthita Prajna, the one whose wisdom is firm, meaning one whose wisdom is well assimilated. So before practicing Nididhyasana, our wisdom is not very firm and well assimilated. But after the performance of lots and lots and lots of Nididhyasana, eventually our wisdom, our prajna becomes sthita, well established. Okay? So, Arjuna's question is natural. What is the profile of a wise man? How do they look and behave? The answer to this question is we know already, and that is that they don't appear different from anybody else. But whatever is going on in their mind is utterly different. People who are not enlightened, their mind is completely different. And people who are enlightened, their mind is completely different. So the physical appearance of the enlightened person doesn't change, but the way they experience themselves and the way they experience the world around, that is utterly changed. So it's an internal transformation, not an external transformation. So the next sequence of verses, starting with verse number 39, will tell us this story of internal transformation. Okay. And I had planned to do 39 and 40, but I think I got quite carried away with my summary. So we will do 39 and 40 next time. Okay. See, it's all prepared there. Maybe we can just read it. Rupavarnadikam sarvam vihaya paramarthavita Paripurnachidananda Sarupe Navatishtate. And then the 40th is Jnana Gneya Beda Pare Natmani Vidyate Chidanandaika Rupatvat Deepyate Swayamevahi. So with that, I will stop. And okay. Any questions? I'm open for question. If I can answer, I will answer. All are stunned. The true eye is quite stunning. शास्त्रा इतनी जोर से बोलती है. Once you start, with Nididhyasana, you actually accept the whole, you are able to see it very clearly. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. You can always watch again, on YouTube and see if some questions are coming up. Yeah. Okay. Om Hari Om Tat Sat. We'll meet at 6:30.